Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
What's new? What's happening?
Nothing. What's happening with
Nothing.
you?
Just going through the same old thing.
That's it.
The weekend's coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. This is dropping
excited?
on Thursday. Yeah. You know. Oh, my daughter's birthday. So yes, I am very excited. Very excited. Why?
How old is she?
She's 6.
You're not sure. I love asking you how old your children are.
No, she'll be 6. Because I was trying to think. Like,
what year was she born in?
6 years ago. And so,
My, how you love her.
Yeah, no, I do. See, it's just that I was getting confused.
Yes.
Because today, when this drops, is Brooklyn's birthday. Happy birthday, Brooklyn! I know your mom's listening. She'll let you know.
All right.
Happy birthday.
All right.
So I was trying to remember because she's turning 7.
So was he named after that TV show, Brooklyn?
Well, no, I'm not sure who she's named after.
Oh, it's a she. Brooklyn. It's a boy's name, isn't it? No, I knew a girl named Brooklyn.
Yeah, you also know another one at our church, Brooklyn Earl.
Yeah. But Brooklyn's okay. Yeah, I guess it is a girl's name.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like I hang out with Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, sweetie, Pastor Joe
Brooklyn,
is
go to bed.
joking around.
Goodness sakes.
He is just playing
Brooklyn,
around.
if you're not a member, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So so until you turn 16 and join, I'm not going to remember your face or your name.
Goodness,
okay.
Why would you do that?
I met a girl named Brooklyn who worked for the North American Mission Board. And, smart, capable, awesome person. So, yeah, I do. Yeah, Brooklyn, girl name. It's also a boy's name, too. It goes both. Yeah.
It goes both ways.
I didn't want to say it that way, but yeah. Okay. So,
you have to make it weird.
No, but everybody else would make it weird.
Oh, I don't know why you're making it weird.
Oh, so.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
I'm just anticipating what it's going to be like if Jen and the kids bring home another dog. 2 dogs in the house.
Man, I don't know how did they convince you to let them do it?
I don't know.
All right, let me rephrase that. Why do they feel like they should be ignoring you and not even asking you?
Well, they did.
Now, why do they
I don't have a good reason to say no.
You did not have a good reason to say no.
Well, give me some good reasons.
I don't want the dog.
Yeah, but that's not a good reason.
That's a great reason.
No, if I live in a authoritarian, me-centered household like some people,
you can go ahead and point at me. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I gestured at you. I didn't point.
Okay, no, you pointed. 4 fingers.
That's a gesture.
No, like this.
This is a gesture too.
Yeah. So now that was just pointing at me with 1 finger.
Yes, right.
Now here's the thing: is like Ariana's been like, I want a cat. Can I have a cat, Daddy? No.
Well, yeah, of course. The answer to that question is always no.
Oh, yeah.
Cats are the worst.
And then
cats are the Canadians of domesticated animals.
And then I was like, yeah, we should probably get a dog sometime. I'm like, no, never, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's because you live in a tiny house, though. You got to get once you get your mansion, then you can have a dog.
I'm fine with the tiny house. I'm glad.
Get an outside dog. Make it stay outside.
Don't want it.
Winter.
Don't want it at all.
Okay.
Don't want it.
Yeah.
You
know what I want?
I like to be able to travel.
I want my kids to be happy.
I like to be able to travel. And then I don't have to worry about it.
So, what do you do with your kids then? What do you guys,
when I travel?
No, like what do you do with if they don't have a dog? You got to do stuff. What do you do with your kids? What are some things?
I actually spend time with them.
Doing what?
Outside, yelling at them.
Okay.
Watching them clean their room.
Okay.
Checking up after they clean the playroom. No, playing outside, catch.
You watch movies with them too.
We do.
What was the most recent movie you watched? The most recent movie you watched. Let's just put it this way. What is the most recent movie you watched? Leave the kids out of it.
Trolls World Tour.
I don't know why.
Why? It was,
oh my goodness.
It was all right.
Yeah. That's generous. I'm sure
it was not as good as the first one. I will give it that. The first one was amazing.
Comparatively, or just on its own?
On its own, it was fantastic.
Oh, you are
but even
so
comparatively,
sorry.
it was.
You have no taste. You have no understanding of movies.
Listen. No, JT gave his all. Justin Timberlake, and he was fantastic.
I do like Justin Timberlake.
Thank you. And yes.
Anna Faris?
Kendrick, she did a really great job.
Okay. I like JT. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, the most recent movie I just saw it last night. It's a documentary. You know how I like my documentaries.
You do love your documentaries.
This one's called Murder in the Front Row. And it is, which is song from Exodus. But anyways, not the biblical book, but the band. It's the San Francisco Bay Area thrash metal story.
All right.
So yeah, it covers like 1980 up to 90 and 1990, and it's a really interesting documentary.
How do you have time to watch all these documentaries that you do?
I watched it last night. I know. It was done by 12 midnight.
And then you wake up at I know you wake up early, so you only
Not
survive.
today,
You're only like, what,
then
6 hours?
Then I watched the Michael Jordan documentary after that, so I was up late. I was up really late.
But yeah, typically you're on 5-6 hours, yeah?
Yeah, that's usually what I get for sleep, yeah. So, good stuff. And we're bringing this, but have you watched a movie? Okay, have you watched anything for adults besides?
Well, I'm rewatching Clone Wars, the animated series.
No, for adults, for grown-ups.
No, because season 7 is now out, the final season, and I gotta.
How about for non-geeks? Have you watched anything like what's the most?
Tiger King. I finally finished Tiger King. It took a while. And Greg and I are watching True Detective season 2. Yeah,
that's not good.
Season 1 was amazing.
Season 1 was brilliant.
Now, yes, season 2, I'm like, meh.
But did you get to the scene?
No, I don't know. I'm only like
what episode?
3. I'm only like episode 3. So I'm only 3 in. So they went to go.
What's the guy's name with the hair?
Oh, I can't remember his name. I don't remember names. I'm not good at that.
Did he do a house visit yet? That's all I'm going to ask you.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
That seems interesting. Nope. So the reason we're talking about this stuff is because obviously with the COVID and all that stuff, everybody's at home. The Wi-Fi is being wrung out. People are watching more shows than ever.
Yep.
Kids are home alone. In fact, like I saw this one article where there are more cases of child abuse and whatnot because kids are home more with their neglectful or abusive parents or guardians. So, but there's a lot going on. In fact, we've seen some articles that have been written. I know Josh McDowell had just put something out recently saying that that as we're going through this, it's leading to an increase of loneliness, depression, and even porn use. Because you know how it is. Boredom oftentimes leads to trouble. And you sit there looking at your computer. And then there was another article that we saw that said 40% of Netflix teen programs are rated TVMA, which just means mature, which means it can have sex, violence, and language in it. And so, Jimmy and I were talking about what this means for parents, and it doesn't really change anything. It just makes it puts it on the front burner of our thoughts right now. How do we determine what our kids can and can't watch, should and shouldn't watch? So how your kids range in age from, I know, like 0 to 18, but what more specifically are the age ranges of your kids?
They're all under 10.
Okay. And they're all over 5?
Well, Ariana's 5.
Yeah.
So
she's turning 6.
She'll be turning 6. Ellie's is 7. Cohen's 8.
6, 7, and 8. Jeez, man, you guys went right at it. You're like fully automatic.
I'm living the dream over here.
Well, you did for 3 years.
3 years. No,
you were very busy.
Well, the first 5 years. Yeah, that was we waited 5 years before having Cohen.
Before consummating?
No, before having Cohen. Before, we waited 5 years.
So you hated the idea of children for 5 years. I got it.
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not it.
You denied God's blessing for 5 years.
We were that couple that thought, you know what? We want to spend the first 5 years working on us.
Okay. So let me interpret that. You guys were so jacked up. I'm sorry. You were so messed up. You knew you had no business being a dad until 5 years.
And I wanted to travel.
You haven't slowed down.
I have not slowed down.
But that's business makes you do it. Okay, so Jimmy,
and thankfully my kids, they love it too.
So 6, 7, and 8.
6, 7, and 8.
Okay, so what are some shows that your kids watch that you know of?
That I know of?
Yeah.
Oh man, like Pokemon. There's
Pokemon. All right.
Pokemon thing.
Pagan. Go ahead. What else?
Worldly. Then they watch a YouTube thing. Not but maybe. Then they watch a YouTube thing. Preston Plays.
Okay.
And I guess he's playing Minecraft.
Oh yeah. Oh, does he have a funny accent?
No, I don't know about funny accent. He's just high pitched.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's the guy.
That's got to be the guy. Yeah.
I think one of my sons watches that.
Yeah, Bonger. We'll probably be watching that.
See, my kids are older, so back in the day, it was Blue's Clues.
Yeah, no longer those things.
Yeah, they're lots of internet stuff now.
They're past that. I actually don't think. I don't think that's it.
That kind of stuff.
Kind of stuff. I'm trying to actually think of anything else.
I know my oldest is 18, and then the next one is 16, and then it's 10 and it's 11 and 9. So, they're all kind of watching different stuff. In fact, one of the most common questions I hear, because we talk a lot about film and movies and stuff like that.
Especially when you hear your taste in film and movies and documentaries.
It's not just mine, but it's all enlightened people with an IQ of, over 140. But anyway, it's interesting that like the one question that I hear a lot lately is, hey, can I watch that? Like I was talking about Tiger King with Jen, and Madeline, who's 11, she's like, can I watch that? And we're like, no, absolutely not. No, cannot watch Tiger King. Nope. And it's not that there's violence in it. It's not that there's sex in it. It's thematically. It's just, and there's a lot of language in it, but she hears that at school. That's not such a big thing for me, for her to hear something.
But yeah, the themes of it are too adult, right? There's actually this like one show Ariana was trying to watch. It was like some ladybug thing that like was a crime fighter with like the girl turned into Ladybug.
Okay.
And like this other boy turned into a cat boy.
Yeah.
And like they're superheroes and they didn't know like that they like each other. But anyways, it was weird because it had very romantic themes, and they were supposed to be, like kids or teenagers. And like at one point, like cat boys kind of got her up against the wall.
Ugh,
like she's like kind of cornered, and it's like she's like, no, don't, but okay. And it was like, this done, out. I don't ever want to see this in my house ever again.
I know, like some of like the Pixar movies and whatnot, they actually have a good balance where there's a lot of stuff in there for adults and there's a lot of stuff in there for kids, but they walk a line that's pretty healthy for the most part.
This was unhealthy.
Yeah, it was weird, right?
It was very weird. It was very weird.
So what do a lot of parents do? What do you think the most common way parents deal with what their kids do watch? Not saying what best practices are. What do you think the most common is?
I mean, I think the most common is they just assume it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. You watch it.
Yeah.
I think that's loosey-goosey. Among Christians, it's probably maybe just like to go off the ratings. Oh, it's rated G, you can watch it. Rated PG, now you can watch PG. PG-13, now you can watch PG-13. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of them just default to the rating system, which is fairly arbitrary and doesn't really mean much.
Yeah.
Like I let Killian watch 1917. It was a war movie. And Killian can handle that. It was fine. He got bored. I made him finish it because I wanted him to see that run at the end. But but yeah, I mean, it's like that was R because of the wartime violence. But then there are PG-13 movies I wouldn't let him watch, not at all. Some non-rated stuff. So
I try to Google the shows. Like I try to Google the shows and see shows and games because the kids always want to try to play a game. Online or something like that. Like, I want to see what is this? What the heck's going on?
Yeah, we use Common Sense Media a lot because it'll just tell you like what's the language like, what are the imitable, I think is the word. So what's likely to be imitated, like what's what characters are doing what that kids might be prone to imitate, and then obviously sex and violence. And so that gives you a nice little thing to look at. And even then, sometimes I'll have to say, like, I'm going to have to watch this before you can watch it. And I think that's a really good practice for our kids. And then you can watch it with your kids as well. I don't think enough parents do that. I don't do that.
No. I mean, I watch, Trolls World Tour and
you sit down. Kids to be trolls.
That's not what they're imitating. They also watch The Masked Singer with me.
Wow.
They enjoy it.
I bet they do.
They do. I got video of them dancing and singing. And I didn't realize until I was watching with my kids that The Masked Singer actually changes some of the lyrics, knowing that there's going to be a kid. I'm not talking about the regular swear word, but like even if they deem a word might be maybe on the line or something like that, they change it, which was weird. Like Seal's, what is it?
Kissed by a Rose?
That's the one. Mm-hmm. And it says on the grave, right? Like it put the rose on the grave or something like that. They go gray.
No, they didn't.
They did.
That's dumb.
I thought so. And the only reason why I could think was, they changed it because for some reason they felt like that might have been.
How do you know they actually changed it?
Because I went and looked at the lyrics of the song and found it to make sure because I'm like, I thought it was great.
But sometimes people might just say, it sounds like he's saying gray.
No. Because this was the first time The Masked Singer did a sing-along, and so they had the lyrics up, and that's how I knew I saw gray.
That's just dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. But whatever.
So that's why we were doing a family sing-along with The Masked Singer.
And you're like, rose on the grave. Wait,
Whoa.
what? That's not the lyrics.
Don't you change Seal. Man. Don't you change Seal.
Man. So, okay. In general, I think the way that Jimmy and I approach it is with our wives is both parents want to be on the same page.
Yep.
And have a same basic approach to what the kids can watch based on their age, for number one, but more importantly, based on their temperament.
Yeah.
There are so in our case, nudity is out.
Of course.
Nudity is out. And,
unless it's a troll. Yep.
Well, troll nudity is not even,
it's not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the reason nudity is out is because, I suppose in Schindler's List, it would not be out, right? That's the different kind of a nudity. But certainly anything sexual like that, and it's not just nudity. I mean, people grinding in bed or something like that. That stuff's out.
That's out.
And it's not because I don't want my kids to not know what sex is. I want them to know what sex is and that it's beautiful in the context of marriage. What I don't want them to experience is what I experienced, which is exposure to sexually explicit material at a young age, which warps our view of sex, which warps our understanding of what's not only appropriate, but what's to be expected and what is good and pleasing. So for us, sex is out, nudity is out, violence is in or out depending on the kind of violence that it is and how old they are and how sensitive they are.
Yeah.
Some kids can see 1917, Killing can watch 1917 and not be traumatized by it. I understand it's in the context of war and all of that. But,
I noticed with my kids, they couldn't do, if there was actual, I found this weird thing, if it was Star Wars or Avengers, almost like this, fantasy comic book
fantasy
violence.
Yep.
They could handle that.
Right.
But the moment it was actually an even tamer show of someone getting hit and they're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And because I think they understood, hold on, this is fake violence.
Right.
That one is actually something that could happen.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm out.
Right. I mean, it's why, some kids and some people aren't freaked out by a monster movie, but a serial killer thing.
Well, yeah.
They're like, I'm not.
And then, listen, some of us are freaked out by both because, the truth is out there.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Loch Ness. Nessie. We are so excited to be sponsored by Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. The ministry landscape is changing. More and more pastors need to be equipped with rigorous theological training as well as job skills to make a living wherever God calls them. That's why Southeastern Seminary has created the M.Div M.B.A. In just 4 years, you can graduate from a theologically rigorous M.Div program at Southeastern and have the practical job skills of an MBA. With leading Baptist scholars like Bruce Ashford, Ben Merkle, and John Hammett, there is no better time to start your theological training today. You can go right over to sebts.edu or click the link in our show notes to go directly to this part of their website and get all of the details. So I think we have to know our kids well enough to know what is within that realm of what is possible. And that is going to be somewhat subjective. You got to know your kids well enough to know, okay, they can handle this. Eli couldn't do anything spooky for years and years. But Catherine, since she was a little kid, thought scary stuff was funny and entertaining. She never got freaked out by it. I think she walked in on Jen and I watching a horror movie, and there was like a scary monster mummy thing there, and she just started laughing at it. She thought it was funny. Eli would be like, if the spooky music came on, Eli'd be like, I'm out. All the way up till probably 11. He was like, I'm not.
I thought you were going to be like 2 weeks ago.
No. Now he likes the scary stuff. So I've got 2 kids that like it, 2 kids that like you.
Well, they're younger, of course. Yeah.
Well, no, but I was younger and I was fine.
Yeah, but you were messed up and are.
But last night, Madeline watched The Visit, which was M. Night Shyamalan's return to making decent movies again, good movies.
Okay.
So it's about these kids that visit their grandparents, and it is spooky and crazy. But she has to watch it with someone else, right? So she watches it with Catherine in that case, and they kind of talk through it. But what I wanted to talk about was...
Dang, man, I just guess the things your kids watch.
But The Visit? That's not a bad movie. That's a good movie. Visit's nice and spooky. Man, and there's this scene...
Nah, don't tell me.
But here's what I think is really important, what is oftentimes lost. When your kids are taking in any kind of media, any kind of content, whether it's a book or a show or a movie or a YouTube channel, they have to be taught, they have to be discipled so that they know how to interpret what they're seeing. We don't want our kids to be blind consumers of anything that's just entertaining. We want them to go, okay, so what does this, like, what's the point? What's the message? What's the story? Who's the hero? Who's the villain? And just listen, sometimes the villain is shown to be victorious and Christians are like, oh, evil wins. I don't want my kid to see that. Evil sometimes wins in this world. Now, in the end, it does not, but people do die. Bad guys get away with it. What we want them to do is to look at these stories and understand, who is doing what, why are they doing it, and how do we, as followers of Christ, as people that are letting the Scripture guide us through these things, interpret what's actually happening. In fact, one of the passages that people go to a lot, I think is really helpful in this, in Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. And so a lot of people say, like, okay, so if it's not true, I'm not going to watch it. So does that, I mean, that's sort of a crazy response, and it could be taken in a bad direction. That fiction would be out because that's not necessarily true. But you're focusing on what is true. So let's say you're watching a show that is dealing with family drama and even like family abuse, even like kids that are neglected, and your kids are watching this and they're trying to process it. And then this can be one of the grids that they're looking at this for. Whatever is honorable. Are these kids honoring their parents? No, they're not. Like this kid, like Mike Seaver. Remember Growing Pains? All right. We all liked Mike Seaver, but he didn't always honor his parents. No. And that should have been a part of our understanding. Like, okay, Mark is generally a nice kid. He's kind to others, but he doesn't always honor his parents. And that is a problem that he's going to have to deal with. Even if it's just in the story, you have to be able to interpret what the characters are doing and say like, oh, well, you know what? This character is not pure in their motives. This character is not pure in their life. They are impure in every way. And so what it helps us to do is not only to identify like people and their lives, but it also helps us to see, you know what? Impure, dishonorable people are still people made in the image of God, and they are complex people. And so just because you see somebody as the hero of a story doesn't mean that they're perfect. Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to kind of process all of this and say like, okay, well, can I take what is good from this and still recognize what is wrong with it? And for kids to do that, they've got to be of a certain age. They're just not going to be able to do that. You know, some kids can do it younger, some kids can't. And you just have to know, what can my kids handle? What can they process? And what, I mean, honestly, like, what are they likely to imitate? I'll just say this right now. One of my kids is more likely to be influenced by imitable, if I'm saying that right, behavior depicted in a film than the other three. Okay. And so I'm conscious about that. And so I'm a bit more careful with what I allow them to observe. Like Eli.
So it's not Eli.
It's not Eli. Eli can listen to, and he listens to hip hop, and he watches movies. None of our kids use bad language, right? Some people might consider it, but they might say crap or something like that. But they don't use like the explicit language. But they hear explicit language. It's because we've talked through that. People are going to talk that way. The world talks that way. We don't talk that way. So, you know, leave that stuff alone. And this is why, and we talk about why language is important. But other kids might not. They just might be prone to do that. If I thought any of my kids were easily influenced in, say, acting out or violence, then I wouldn't want them to be indulging in that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
What about, as your kids are getting older, what concerns you more most about the way media geared towards kids is going? I mean, you might not even know because you don't watch a lot of teen stuff, I'm guessing. So, but what do you think?
But even then, though, I could see like some ideology kind of pushing through, right? You could see ideology pushing through. Even, okay, we'll use an example, trolls, right? Yeah. We had to actually have a conversation afterwards. The next day I was talking with the boys, and Ariana as well, about, there was a scene in there where like it kind of looked like two girl trolls were maybe giving a hug and a glance, kind of a thing, right?
Yep.
And was trying to sort through that, you know, with them and say, okay, well, here's, I know this is what the culture says. Here's what is out there on TV and in movies. But the Bible says this, right? And that marriage is between a man and a woman. And so kind of talking that through with them. And so, because you could see like the subtleties within, these movies and cartoons. And so, I mean, there is a sense of indoctrination, right? There is a sense of, I mean, Hollywood or whoever is pushing their bias, right? Yeah. And so even Trolls with that, they also, I mean, I could definitely tell Trolls had some, racial tones, not racist in a sense, but it was definitely trying to like talk about, racial justice, right? In the using music and different styles of music to convey that story, right? So I could see that. And so I'm trying to have a conversation with them about like what's appropriate, what's not, right?
Every story is going to communicate values, right, of some sort or another. And sometimes it's nothing explicit. It's just it's the values that are driving characters. Or many stories are going to clearly carry a philosophy or an idea that they want other people to get, and that's okay. That's fine. And sometimes those messages are bad. Sometimes they are very good. And I think when they're bad, we're just honest about it, and we say, listen. The message of this. So I remember when $1 Million Baby came out. Great movie. Sad movie. Tragedy. But I remember Dr. Moeller at the time, I think it was Moeller or Moore at the time, were saying that this movie promotes euthanasia and a culture of death. Because in the story, it's essentially about a female fighter who's trained by a father figure, and because she had a messed up family, and he trains her, and she becomes a gifted boxer, and she is basically sucker punched and winds up paralyzed, and she asks her coach to take her off life support to basically kill her, like just pull that plug and just let me die, and he does. And the message of that film was not that life is not worth living if you're not a fully capable human being. That wasn't the message of the film. Certainly not as I interpreted it. It was a tragedy, and it was filled with questions. And when he does this, she loses her life, and he is miserable. The movie ends with him destroyed and her dead. It raises questions, and it gets us thinking, but I do not think it was promoting a culture of death. I think it was raising questions about what would you do? How do you handle this without offering any solutions? Much like many of the movies that Eastwood has directed, there is no redemption in it, which in and of itself then is an opportunity to talk about how did this end? How does it leave you feeling? Empty, broken, hurting. Okay, so what could have happened? Or what does this tell us about our need for redemption? There's a whole conversation that we can have on these things that I think would go beyond just a knee-jerk sort of reaction to the surface level content of some of the things that we might see. I know when I'm thinking about kids, I'm with you. I'm concerned about the philosophies that are being communicated. So our kids need to have a biblical worldview, biblical philosophy, good theology. The sexual content is bizarre, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much, I just watched a teen show called Outer Banks, and it is the tamer version of a lot of other teen shows that I know are out there, and I've seen some of, where like these kids are hooking up all over the place, having a ton of sex, and it's all very adult. And I'm concerned about the sexual morality or immorality and ethic of our culture, but this stuff doesn't just reflect it; it actually does encourage it. And so, like, that's something I'm very concerned about: hypersexualization of our kids.
Yeah.
When people point this out online all the time, but if I go back and look at what the girls looked like at 13 in the 80s and what girls look like when they're 13 today, there's quite a large number of girls that look like they're 18. Like they present themselves much older in the way that they dress, act, and so that is one of the things I am actually concerned about. But all this to say, with our kids probably watching a bit more, getting more screen time than normal, we should be very conscious, very deliberate, and it should be a normal thing for your kids. My kids ask. Catherine doesn't ask anymore, but even Eli still asks, "Hey, can I watch this? There's a movie I'd like to watch. Can I watch?" He automatically watches it first before he does. And I'm always like, "Of course you can watch that. Thanks for asking."
He asks you first. Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks for asking. But I love that you're asking me. Yes, that's an easy one. Go ahead. But half the time I have to say like, "Well, I'm gonna have to look into that." And sometimes it's like, "No way, dude. got to stay away from that. And of course, he's always dejected and frustrated, but it's good for him.
Yep. Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us online on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, drdevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast, or hit up the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. Fresh pod every Monday and Thursday. Blog post on Wednesdays. Later.